Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have two episodes for you this morning. It's going to be news about what's going on in Washington and with President Trump. 13 articles in this episode, so it's going to be a little lengthy, I think. But read on what all's going on listed in the description of this video for your convenience, so you can do your research off of it. The first one is off of the gatewaypundit.com, and it says, Trump in danger. Service agent who supported Hillary suggests she wouldn't take a bullet for Trump. Video in this, if you care to pull it up to take a look at it. Senior Secret Service agent has posted on social media in recent months that she will not protect President Trump. To be considered a top threat to President Trump, and the agent, Carrie O'Grady, needs to be removed immediately from her position service. Remember, only a few weeks ago, a Russian ambassador was murdered on live TV by a man standing behind him that was a security detail protecting him. The Secret Service and Trump administration needs to do something to figure out what agents they can trust to protect the president. This is serious. The president's assassination, and celebrities have called for blowing up the White House. Examiner, it says a senior Secret Service agent posted Facebook condemnations of President Trump during the past 7 months, including one in which she said she wouldn't want to take a bullet for him. Waiting for this to scan up a little bit. There we go. She explained herself, saying she viewed candidacy as a disaster for the country, and especially for women and minorities. Carrie O'Grady, in charge of the Secret Service Denver district, oversees coordination with Washington-based advanced teams, candidates, trips to the area, including all upcoming or future trips by the president or Trump administration officials. Despite her senior security role, she has made her disdain for Trump and his incoming administration clear to her Facebook followers, who included Secret Service agents and other people who were employed at the time of the post. O'Grady's post tinged one complaint to the office that oversees investigations into Secret Service misbehavior, two knowledgeable sources told the Washington Examiner. In one Facebook post, O'Grady wrote, 7 p.m. on Sunday, October, she endorsed Hillary Clinton and said she would endure jail time rather than taking a bullet for what she regarded as a disaster for America. Mentioned Trump by name, but clearly referred to him. In the same post, she mentioned the Hatch Act, which bars executive branch staff except the president, vice president, and some other senior executive officials from certain political activities. The quote is, as a public servant for nearly 23 years, I struggle not to violate the Hatch Act. So I keep quiet and skirt the median, she wrote. Can be a criminal offense for those in my position, despite the fact that I am expected to take a bullet for both sides. But this and I have changed, and I would take jail time over a bullet for would take a jail time over a bullet or an endorsement for what I believe to be a disaster to this country and strong and amazing women and minorities who reside here. Hatch Act be damned. Well, where I come from, if you refuse to do your job, an employment line, a little bit better. Leave to duty effective as of back last October. The next one we have here is off of the freethoughtproject.com, and it says executive order forcing continuation of DAPL and Keystone XL. Sure to cause a firestorm of controversy. Donald Trump signed executive order at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, advancing the Dakota Access Pipeline as well as the Keystone XL. According to Reuters, U.S. President Donald Trump signed 2 executive actions on Tuesday to advance construction of the Keystone XL and Dakota Access pipelines, an administration official said. Obama administration environmental policies in favor of expanding energy infrastructure. The entire substance of the executive order immediately clear. However, they will fulfill campaign promises Trump made to approve both pipelines, which have been vehemently opposed by a massive bipartisan sect. Comes on the heels of a pipeline spill yesterday, which dumped hundreds of thousands of liters of oil on an Aboriginal community in Canada. Project has reported this move by Trump has been since the election. Likely why the company behind DAPL, Energy Transfer Partners, said in December the denial of an easement necessary to drill under the Missouri River is of no consequence for its plans to complete the project. According to a statement from Energy Transfer Partners and Sunoco Logistics, which is acquiring ETP in a merger. As stated all along, ETP and SXL to ensuring that this vital project is brought to completion and fully expect to complete construction of the pipeline without any additional rerouting. Complete construction of the pipeline without any addition. Wait a minute. Deja vu there. I think I read the same line twice. We'll start that whole paragraph over. As stated all along, ETP and SXL are fully ensuring that this vital project is brought to completion and fully expect to complete construction of the pipeline without any additional rerouting in and around Lake Oahe. This administration has done today changes that in any way. The administration already stated its support for the project, and the courts have already stated twice that it appeared the Corps' required process in considering the permit, said Heitkamp of North Dakota in a statement last month. Incidentally met with President-elect Donald Trump last month to the delight of Morton County Commission Chairman Cody Schultz, who noted, "I sincerely hope he is able to make a direct plea to the new administration for the help and resources from the federal government that are desperately needed to assist local law enforcement in their efforts to provide public safety and to expedite a decision on the final Dakota Access Pipeline so that our citizens may return to their normal lives. We have seen nothing but foot dragging and unhelpful directives from the Obama administration. I trust Senator Heitkamp will use her meeting and her influence to ensure that help is on the way for the people of North Dakota when the president-elect is sworn in on January the 20th. It now appears that these plans have made their way to official White House ink, and DAPL will continue as planned. Order by Trump seeks to override the decision of engineers who refused to grant permission to extend the Dakota Access Pipeline beneath the Missouri River last month. As the Free Thought Project has previously reported, to go over lands which do not belong to the federal government, as they were by the state's violation of Native American treaties. As for the Trans-Canada Corps, and that was also rejected under former President Barack Obama, move was seen as a seeming giveaway to Warren Buffett, who holds a quasi-monopoly on transportation through the same region. Of the executive order broke, stock climbed as much as 1.1% to $3.25 at 9:33 a.m. in New York. Energy Transfer Equity LP and Energy Transfer Partners LP climbed as much as 3 and 1.7% respectively, as reported by Bloomberg. Prior to being elected to POTUS, investments in Energy Transfer Partners, according to CNBC. sold his entire stake in the company, and it could be perceived as a conflict of interest. CNBC also reported that Energy Transfer Partners owner Kelly Warren gave $100,000 to Trump's joint fundraising effort with the Republican Party. This move will likely be met with more protests and even more policy violence. Here you have the information. Dapple. The next one here is off of the Conservative Tribune, and it says Trump releases his planned amendment, leaves millions furious. Get it to scroll up here. Hamster's running a little slow this morning. It says one common criticism of President Donald Trump has been that he too often speaks in generalities and less often offers specifics about where he stands on issues. That was no longer the case, at least regarding his stance on gun rights and the Second Amendment, after Trump released his official policy position on his campaign website late in 2016. The amendment to our Constitution is clear: the right of the people to keep and bear arms upon, period. Position paper read. Trump went on to explain that the right to keep and bear arms is a right that preexisted both the government and the Constitution, noting that the government didn't create the right and therefore cannot take it away. He denoted the Second Amendment as America's first freedom, to protect all of the other rights we hold dear. In order to protect and defend, Trump proposed tougher enforcement. It's trying to play a video here, and I'm trying to get it to shut down. Okay, there we go. Tougher enforcement of laws that are already on the books rather than adding new gun control laws. A successful program in Richmond, Virginia that sentenced gun criminals to mandatory 5-year sentences in federal prison. Trump noted that crime rates fall dramatically when criminals are taken off the streets for lengthy periods of time. Trump also proposed strengthening and expanding laws allowing law-abiding gun owners to defend themselves from criminals using their without fear of repercussion from the government. Noting that many of the recent high-profile shooters had clear mental problems that should have been addressed, Trump proposed fixing our nation's broken mental health system by increasing treatment opportunities for the nonviolent mentally ill, but removing from the streets those people to themselves and others. Trump would do away with pointless and ineffective gun and magazine bans and suggested fixing the current background check system already in place rather than expanding a broken system. Trump proposed a national right to carry and national concealed carry tongue's getting tied reciprocity law that would compel states to recognize the concealed carry permits of any other state, similar to the way which driver's licenses are accepted by all states today. Finally, Trump would lift the prohibition on military members carrying weapons on military bases and in recruiting centers, allowing trained military members to carry weapons from attacks by terrorists, criminals, and the mentally unstable, as we have seen too often. In this, if you would like to pull it up to take a look at that. And the article continues. It says Trump's bold defense of the Second Amendment earned him the coveted endorsement of the National Rifle Association. His warning that former Hillary Clinton wanted to abolish the Second Amendment sounded the alarm to millions of Constitution-loving patriots who wanted their rights protected and almost certainly usher him to victory. Those who cherish our rights to keep and bear arms should be pleased by Trump's stated position on the Second Amendment. Of course, liberal anti-gunners will hate this. This matter is of little concern to us. People of the gun, Donald Trump is apparently one. So there you have the news on the Second Amendment. The next one we have here is off of Refugee Resettlement Watch, and it says, breaking news. Rutgers is reporting that President Trump will sign executive order on refugees tomorrow. Unleash Immigration orders. U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to sign several executive orders on Wednesday restricting immigration from Syria and 6 other Middle Eastern or African countries, according to several congressional aides and immigration experts briefed on the matter. In addition to Syria, Trump's orders are expected to temporarily restrict access to the United States. Another order will block visas from being issued to Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, and the aides and experts who asked not to be identified. Restrictions on refugees are likely to include multi-month ban on admissions from all countries until the State Department and the Department of Homeland Security can increase the intensity of the vetting process. The president was expected to sign the orders at the Washington headquarters of the Department of Homeland Security, whose responsibilities include immigration and border security. Been building all day about whether President Trump was going to squish out on doing anything about or anything serious about reining in or reining in immigration. I reported my earlier post today that Rapsnet, WRAPSNET, down all weekend, but it's back up. A huge number of refugees have been admitted just since Inauguration Day, 990. News that Trump will pause the refugee program. It couldn't come soon enough. We have is off of youngcons.com on considering investing $7 into the U.S. economy. Seen a handful of very strong signals that this economy is about to explode. Presidency. Major companies like GM, Chrysler, Ford, SoftBank, and Walmart have announced they are investing billions into our economy. They're also creating thousands of new jobs. Player is making a huge announcement just 2 days after Trump officially became president. Foxconn, the world's largest contract electronics, considering setting up a display-making plant in the United States in an investment of $7 billion. Company chairman and chief executive Terry Gao. The plans come after U.S. President Donald Trump pledged to put in his inauguration speech on Friday, prompting Gao, it's G-O-U, to warn about the rise and protectionism and the trend for politics to underpin economic development. Foxconn's proposal to build a display plant and with its sharp core depend on many factors, such as an investment condition that would have to be renegotiated at the U.S. levels, Gao told reporters on the sidelines of a company event. Gao said that Foxconn, formerly known as Han He Precision Industry Company, had been just jumping on me. Self down here. Okay, I think it's and reporters in the sidelines of a community event. Gao said that Foxconn, formerly known as Han He Precision Industry Company, had been considering such a move for years, but the issue came up when Foxconn business partner Shi Son, head of Japan's core, talked to Gao before December meeting. Trump. I got to get it to scroll up here just a little bit. There we go. It says, God love it. After the slowest economy recovery since World War II, it looks like a growth economy is finally on the way. Article I have is off the Conservative Tribune, and it says media calls Trump Hitler less than 4 hours into his presidency. Chris Matthews pulls the trigger. Scroll. Poor little hamster's running slow. For the past year, liberal media outlets have gone out of their way to compare President Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler in their attempts to derail his candidacy, his nomination, and now his presidency. It didn't take long for the media to start comparing Trump to Hitler, even though he had only been president for an hour or two and hadn't had a chance to do anything significant. The comparison of Trump and Hitler came from MSNBC, of course, and involved Trump's speech, which Chris Matthews, a Hitlerian background. While Matthews is historically correct, the slogan America First was used by a Nazi sympathizing group back in the 1930s. It's been abundantly clear for over a year now that Trump wasn't referring to that group's ideology. Stop and disgusting. MSNBC's Chris Matthews refers to Trump's inaugural address as Hitlerian. That came from the Reagan Battalion on Twitter. It says, when Trump says America First, he's talking about taking care of our own people before we spend trillions of dollars helping other countries take care of theirs. And there is some video in this if you want to pull that up to take a look at that. It says, of course, liberal media don't want to publicize that. Too many Americans agree. They immediately declare is talking like Hitler, throw in a few references to fascism and tie him to the Russians just to be safe. Boy, oh boy, are we in for a long 4-8, try that again. Are we in for a long 4 or 8 years? No matter what Trump does, the liberal media is going to declare that it's horrible, awful, and Trump is leading us into some Orwellian nightmare scenario. All Trump wants to do is take care of this country after it has suffered under 8 years of former President Barack Obama's so-called leadership. There's nothing wrong with saying that America should prioritize helping the poor and homeless in this country before we go waste money on Middle Eastern countries that will stab us in the back the first chance they get. Next one I have here is off of BizPac Review. It declares National Day of Patriotism. Donald Trump will create a National Day of Patriotism, according to the White House press secretary. Shortly after taking office as the 45th U.S. president, Trump signed a series of documents on the Senate floor establishing his new administration, reports the Associated Press. Among the president's first acts was signing a proclamation for a National Day of Patriotism, Sean Spicer revealed on Twitter. Spicer did not introduce any details regarding the new day for celebration of America, but such as the specific significance or the date. Trump has repeatedly emphasized the need to make America great again. It's unclear how this day will differ from existing patriotic days like Independence Day. The president reserves the right to declare one-time holidays, but the authority to create federal holidays. Former President George W. Bush and Barack Obama used this power to declare September 11th by way of presidential proclamation. Bush established Patriots Day in 2002, and Obama did the same in 2014. September 11th was a national day of prayer and remembrance for the victims of the terrorist attack on September 11th, 2001. The next one we have is BizPac Review, rolling over Skank March. Look, hasn't been grabbed since Eisenhower. Oh, I figured everybody needed a chuckle, so I wanted to bring this to you. It says, an outspoken Illinois woman shredded participants on Saturday's embarrassing and classless Women's March in Washington. Peggy Hubbard, whose Facebook videos have slammed Black Lives Matter protesters and recently lambasted election protesters, took to Facebook again. Liberal women who marched in the nation's capital crying over repression. Hubbard addressed the nasty women's movement in a video saying she has the right to speak out because she is all woman. Video, but it says warning, strong language. So, you know, sensitive ears, you might not want to watch it. But if you're like me, you're going to want to hear it. It says, "You do not speak for me as a woman," Hubbard began, blasting the feminists for debasing other women by demanding respect while costumes at the march. "It's kind of hard not to treat you as a sexual being when you're walking around with a vajayjay strapped to your forehead," Hubbard said, adding that nothing the liberal marchers did Saturday event helped women to be taken seriously. Hubbard called out the standard bearers of the movement for women like Madonna and Ashley Judd, who read a vulgar poem at the march. Rosa Parks did not make her way and make her mark by riding the bus topless, Hubbard noted. The topless and sometimes bottomless marchers who look like their cat hasn't been grabbed since Eisenhower, and that's a quote. The one oh my goodness. The women who expressed messages of intolerance on a wall of maxi pads are not women in America, Hubbard said. "Inspired me to join your cause," Hubbard went on. "If anything, you inspired me to run the other way." She drove the point home, castigating the women for complaining about being sexually objectified while marching without clothes. "That bumping and grinding on the video does not make you a woman," she said. "It makes you a skank. Let's be honest." This video has garnered 1.5 million views and has been shared more than 57,000 times. My, but why when it's right there? Okay, BizPack review. Knuckle sandwiches were served. Bikers for Trump described what happened to deserving protesters. Trump founder Chris Cox promised to form a wall of meat to protect citizens attending Donald Trump's inauguration from dangerous anarchists. He meant what he said. They weren't there looking for trouble, but if trouble found him or his fellow bikers, Cox had told Fox News that he was sure they would stand strong. "We will stand shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and toe to toe with anyone that's going to be breaking down police barriers, assaulting women, spitting on them, or throwing things," Cox said before the big day. Turns out, at least a few occasions, trouble did come knocking, and the Bikers for Trump founder told Fox Business host Stuart Varney all about it on Monday. "Clashes of our own. We served many knuckle sandwiches. We had a couple of nose rings knocked out of some protesters," Cox told Varney. Spat on a biker and gave him the finger. The biker gave him a knuckle sandwich, dislodging the nose ring, and then massaged his face with his knuckles several times after that. And they walked up. They believed that the biker had reason to believe the protester was there to do harm to him, and they told the biker to have a nice day. Cox also described another pushing incident started by a protester and ended by one of the bikers. Interestingly, and as testament to the fact that it's still okay in America to defend oneself and others, not one biker was arrested. "We've never had a biker arrested at any of our events, and those were just 2 of the 5 encounters that protesters," Cox told Varney. "And the best news? Donald Trump has created a brand new demographic, sustainability, one that will be a sweet spot for Republicans for many years to come. Right now, we're about a 250,000 members, and soon we hope to be at 500,000 members." In this, if you want to look at that. Serving up knuckle sandwiches. It's off of the conservativetribune.com. I'm waiting for the hamster to catch up to me here. Okay, there we go. Kim Jong tests Trump. So minutes after taking office, Trump amps up missile defense plans. At noon yesterday, on time and according to schedule, President Donald Trump took the oath of office, promising to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. "We hope Kim Jong-un, dictator of North Korea, Korea was listening, because Trump also sent Kim a message, and the message was, just try me. Taking office, the White House website announced that the Trump administration will pursue the highest level of military readiness. President Trump will end the defense sequester and submit a new budget to Congress outlining a plan to rebuild our military. Military leaders with the means to plan for our future defense needs. We will also develop a state-of-the-art missile defense system to protect against missile-based attacks from states like Iran and North Korea, the website announced. Nations have watched and worried as people while issuing insane threats to the U.S. and building nuclear capabilities to make those threats more credible. Trump has not only refused to play his game, he is making it clear that America will now make the rules. With improvised missile capabilities and increasingly dangerous foreign policy and a clearly unstable leader, North Korea has been a ticking time bomb trifecta. This, if you want to pull it up to see it. The article continues. It says, in his annual New Year's Day speech, Kim of the strides he said his country had made in its nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs. He said North Korea would continue to bolster its weapons program as long as the United States remained hostile and continued its joint military exercises with South Korea, according to the New York Times. We have reached the final stages and to test launch an intercontinental ballistic missile, he said. The claims of ICBM readiness appeared to be credible, according to Rutgers, and a test launch could be imminent. Sources say they have detected 2 missiles, presumed to be prototype ICBMs, on mobile launchers poised in the near future, according to the UK Express. President Barack Obama, or try that again, although former President Barack Obama willing to increase strategies for fear of upsetting Russia, our strong new president has no such qualms. First, he means it. Tab is off of BizPack Review. Not my president whiners get trolled with not my Super Bowl hashtag. Hilariously trolled the not my president crowd with a hashtag for those who did not advance to the NFL Super Bowl. On Sunday and Monday, the Not My Super Bowl hashtag gained momentum on Twitter with some fantastic quips that might make some of the anti-Trump whiners see how ridiculous they look. Not. But they are amusing nonetheless. One tweets, Russia rigged the outcome of the AFC and NFC championship. Hashtag Not My Super Bowl. I refuse to accept the results of the AFC NFC championship games. Tomorrow I'll be protesting, picketing, looting, rioting, and forming support groups. Contact me privately for details. Hashtag Not My Super Bowl. We demand the winner be determined by yards run instead of points earned. It's an antiquated system and probably racist. Hashtag Not My Super Bowl. There's a whole list of these if you want to read them. They're funny. My goodness gracious. I'll read one more. The Browns should be in the Super Bowl because Russia conspired against them this year. But I'm right. Hashtag Not My Super Bowl. Oh, I love people with sense of humor. The next one here is off of Grambian.com, and it says, DNC chair candidates bash white people in racially charged forum. Aspiring to take over as chairman of the Democratic National Committee met Monday night to discuss what went wrong in 2016 and how to get the party back on track. Early into the event, candidates gravitated toward a particular scapegoat for the party's poor showing in November, political consultancies owned by white people. We have to stop, particularly with the consultants, said the chairman of the South Carolina Democratic Party, Jamie Harrison. You cannot come to D.C. and get a contract minority face you have answering the phone. Minority consultants, same resources that the white consultants have gotten, said a Fox News analyst and candidate for the Jamu Green. The DNC did a piss poor, pathetic job attracting minorities, she said. Democrats must provide training that focuses in part on teaching Americans how to be sensitive and how to shut their mouths if they are white, urged the executive director of Idaho's Democratic Party, Sally Boynton Brown. The event's moderator, MSNBC's Joy Ann Reid, asked the candidate how the party should handle the Black Lives Matter or Lives Now movement. The candidates uniformly expressed that the party must embrace the activists, and it makes me sad that we're even having the conversation. The white leaders in our party have failed, Brown said. I'm a white woman and I don't get it. My job is to listen and be a voice and shut other white people down when they want to interrupt. This is life and death, she emphasized. I'm a human being trying to do good work, and I can't do it without you all. So please, please, please get a hold of me. Sally, the DNC, I need schooling so I can go to school. The other white people, or try that again. I need schooling so I can go school the other white people. Candidate said Black Americans are now living with justified fear of Donald Trump was elected president. Raymond Buckley, the chairman of the New Hampshire Democratic Party, told a story about how the midst of election day, he received a call from his black niece who feared for her life after Trump victory. It's not just certain parts of the country, he said. That fear is all across the country. Rural New Hampshire, so when people say Black Lives Matter, you're damn right they matter. Whether they would agree to work with President Trump, the candidates agreed that they would never do so. Applause from the otherwise quiet crowd at George Washington University. Update: Sally Boynton Brown has responded to the controversy her comments elicited being taken out of context. She said Tuesday, I think that this is the issue we see with fake news. These media outlets take something completely out of context and sensationalize it, and now people across the country are sending me hate mail and thinking I'm saying something that's not true. Reports. Boynton Brown, traveling in New York on Tuesday, said that her comments were aimed at racism as our structure that we have in this country. We absolutely need to check our own filter, she said, and the DNC needs to be making sure that we're training people on how to listen to our brothers and sisters of color who are sharing their life experience with us. So there you have that one. I check something real quick here because I believe there was another one to bring you. I know I have one more here, but there was one that seems to have escaped where it went. So let me see if I can find it quickly here for you. Get it out. Usually don't miss getting them in the queue, but okay. And I'll be sure and get the URL to this one in the video before I release it to Freedom Daily. Didn't have anything to back this up, so keep that in mind. On TV talking about this, or been on the news or something, so it's for real. But it says Kellyanne Conway urgently rushed out of her house by Secret Service. Here's why. How much the left hates Kellyanne Conway. Since becoming the first female campaign manager to run a successful presidential campaign for Trump, the left has done everything they can to launch disgusting verbal attacks against her in the news. Just verbal attacks seem to have just taken an extremely dark, sinister turn for the worst. What was just revealed late on Monday night. Sean Hannity on Monday night, the advisor said that she is now living under constant Secret Service protection after receiving a suspicious package where it appeared someone had tried to kill her. The press is doing to me now. I have Secret Service protection, Conway said, citing has covered her boss for the threats. We have packages delivered to my house. That's a shame. So in this, if you want to take a look at that, it continues. It says Conway went on to say, well, now it's trying to play a video. I'm trying to get that to shut down. I'm trying to get her to move here. There we go. Well, now it's jumping. For goodness sakes, settle down. That the need for security stems from the constant barrage of fake and slammed the press for inaccurately reporting using examples of the recent false White House press pool that Trump removed the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. from the Oval Office. The false report was later retracted by the journalist, but the damage was already done. And is a liar. She did have one thing correct. Assertion on or puts people's lives in danger. Ongoing fake stories put the larger target of those working in Trump's administration by those malcontents who Obama was so successful in breeding resentment in his time in office. Happened to Conway, and that she's now surrounded by a team of security who will constantly be watching out to do her harm. One that I have for you, Truth Feed, and it says, breaking, bill introduced to allow the U.S. to exit the UN saves $8 billion a year. Israel by Obama, John Kerry, and the UN is not going to go unpunished. Bill was introduced this month by Alabama Representative Mike Rogers, called the American Sovereignty Restoration Act of 2017, which would allow the United States to remove all ties from the United Nations. This move would also save the United States a tremendous amount of money, dollars to be exact. Each year, the United States gives approximately $8 billion in mandatory payments and voluntary contributions to the United Nations and its affiliated organizations. The biggest portion of this money, about $3 billion this year, goes to the UN's regular and the bill, titled American Sovereignty Restoration Act of 2017, was proposed on January the 3rd. It is co-sponsored by a handful of Republican lawmakers, including North Carolina Representative Walter Jones, Arizona Representative Andy Biggs, Missouri Representative Jason Smith, Thomas Massey, Tennessee Republican John Duncan Jr., and Florida Representative Matt Gaetz. Biggs said in a statement on Monday that bill because he believes that our sovereignty as a country is harmed by our membership in this body. We need to take a long look at our relationship with the United Nations to ensure that American interests are protected first and foremost, Biggs said. I'm grateful to Congressman for introducing this legislation. The bill proposed barring the U.S. from committing funds or troops to the UN peacekeeping operations worldwide and stipulates that the UN must vacate property owned by the U.S. government. It would repeal the 1973 Environment Program Participation Act, strip UN employees of diplomatic immunity and the U.S., and repeal the U.S.'s membership and participation in the World Health Organization. There you have that. This episode, but there will be one more to follow today. So if you enjoy what we're doing here, share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Bell beside the subscription button. and check the box. You'll get email messages every time I put a show up, and that way you'll stay informed.